I'm Greg Sutton, Chief Academic Officer for Hardin County Schools. I'm very excited to be here with you today to talk about one of our initiatives that we started this past year in Hardin County Schools. The initiative that I'm referring to is the growth mindset goal-setting process. After working with students for the past 23 years, I have learned that if you can get a kid or a child to believe in themselves, if you can help that child have a little bit of success, then they're more likely to set bigger goals. I always say that great leaders are great motivators. Great motivators always bring out the best in every child they come into contact with. Well, I'm so proud that our administrative leadership teams here in this district are great motivators. I want to go ahead and thank them for taking time to sit down, to develop relationships with each and every student and to set goals with them. Setting goals for MAP, setting goals for K-Prep, setting ACT goals. How about college and career readiness? What is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is to get students to take ownership of the learning process by becoming lifelong learners and lifelong goal setters. Do I think the goal setting process had an impact here in our district? Yes, I do. Just this past year, we grew in 70% of our grade level content areas on the K-Prep test. We're seeing tremendous growth in MAP. We're seeing tremendous growth in basic skills like our non-negotiables with our multiplication facts, our division facts, our reading fluency.
To me, goal setting is critical no matter what you're doing, whether it's academics or behavior, work ethic, even athletics. You have to begin with the goal in mind. That's something that we preach to kids a lot here at GC Burkhead. So to me, I think it's important for everybody to have a vision of what success looks like. Once you have that vision, you know where you want to go, the why and the how kind of present themselves to you.
I had my first goal setting. It was like you had a thing that you had to do, and like it made you do stuff harder on like your math and K-Prep scores, and literally I did better. If I didn't have a goal, I probably wouldn't have tried as hard, or so yeah.
Mr. Bender and I have completed goal setting with the students here. He typically takes care of the 5th graders, and I do goal setting with 4th grade. I do 4th grade twice a year at the beginning of the school year after fall MAP testing, and then again right before spring MAP testing. We look at where they were and where they need to be. They give me a score that they are trying to shoot for, and then where they need to be. We talk about some things that they can do to reach that goal, which I enjoy because most of the time I'm spent dealing with discipline, whether it's bus or here in the school. So it's kind of nice to have those conversations and building the academic relationship with the students versus just behavior.
Well, we've been doing goal setting here at Heartland Elementary for quite a few years. Despite it being a district expectation, we started back a few years ago meeting with students, but now that it's become more of a district expectation requirement, we've gotten a little bit more specific and more intentional with our goal setting, and we have found great benefits with that. The students take more accountability, more responsibility for what they're learning. And when we sit down with them, we let them know it's not only them that we're wanting to see work or hold up their end of the bargain. We as administrators, as teachers, are also going to do that by going into the classroom, by talking to them, monitoring their assessment data, complimenting them when they pass something, or celebrating a success with them. We really just try to focus on growth. Regardless of where you are, we just want you to get better. And if you can meet the goal, that's even better, and we're going to celebrate even bigger. But ultimately, as long as you continue to grow and keep trying in everything that you're doing, we're going to be happy and we're going to celebrate with you.
It isn't really a strategy. It's just making sure that I'm doing good, like studying and listening.
Now that our students know that when we're goal setting with them and we know personally their scores and what they should be working on, I have noticed that students are working harder to meet school expectations so that they can meet those goals, especially since we've been telling them in order to meet those goals, they have to promise us that they're doing a good job, so they're trying to improve that with their work.
So goal setting at Lakewood kind of started when we began the Leader in Me process about 5 years ago. It looks very different today than when we started several years ago. When we originally started with goal setting, we had the students writing goals, monitoring their own goals, and then sharing their performance with their parents at a student-led conference once a year. Over time, the teachers have also met with students to talk about MAP goals, and each time we take the MAP test, fall, winter, and spring, the students and the teachers would sit down and say, here's what my RIT score was this time and where I want it to be this next time. So that kind of academic goal setting had also taken place for the last 5 years. But last school year, we started the process where the principal, the counselor, or the assistant principal sat down with every 3rd, 4th, and 5th grader at our school to talk about how we thought these students might perform on the Kentucky State test. And last year was really the first time that we went through this process. So it was new to us, it was new to the students. Most of the students were really excited to sit down with an administrator and just have that one-on-one conversation with them about their academics. We learned a lot about the students doing that, got a little bit more familiar with them, so it was a bonus for the administrators to get to be able to share a little bit about themselves academically with us. So that was a good part of the process.
When I sat down with one of my other school administrators, I felt a little nervous about it, but once I found out how good my scores were, I felt really good. Once they talked to me about things I'm doing good in, I also felt more confident in myself to do better. So I changed my studying habits because I take more time to study now to do better.
I believe that goal setting is very important for students. It has a huge impact on student learning, student behavior. I think it's very important for students to see and know where they've been, where they are, and where they want to go. It's very encouraging to see a student set the goal, and then we talk about the lead measures, how they're going to reach that goal. If the goal is to be better in reading, we talk about, well, what can you do to score higher in reading, to be better. And so it's very encouraging to see the smiles on their faces when they set those goals, and to see that it's reachable, it's attainable, and it's reasonable. And it's just good to see kids feel good about setting goals and reaching those goals.
Hello, super excited to talk to everybody about the wonderful support New Highland Elementary School has received in reference of goal setting. First, we've had a lot of support from central office staff giving advice regarding the ASG report, going back looking at data. So I greatly appreciate that as a new principal. Support and advice and information is greatly important and appreciated as well. First thing. Second thing, we have some wonderful teachers here, and so regarding goal setting, they actually had some conversations with students, actually looking at their goals. Here is where you scored and what we need to do together. So giving back that information to the child, giving back that accountability to the child, and so the teacher and the child worked in tandem with their educational process. Also, what we worked on is actually sitting down and having nights and evenings with parents and talking to parents about things that they could do to help out as well. And so we involved all stakeholders. So we had central office, teachers, of course our wonderful customers, and our parents here at New Highland. And with that, we've seen some great results in relationships, results in social, emotional things, and of course, results in academics as well.
So today we were working on goal setting with 4th grade. Ms. Packer, our head principal, was working with 5th grade with one of our KSI interventionists as well. But really we do a whole lot of different things. We work on things like the culture and the climate of the building. Maybe there are things that we're putting up, whether they're pictures of kids around the building to promote positive behavior. Maybe it's working with the staff members on observations. So again, we have a diverse set that we're dealing with. It's not just discipline anymore. From the principal standpoint or the administrator standpoint, there's a lot more to just managing a building. Again, it's a very complex system, so we try to hit that in many ways as possible, in many ways that we can. So again, today was goal setting for me.
I'm doing differently because I just need to like focus.
I think I could do better if I would pay more attention and listen better. I think it's better to take responsibility for my learning because it's good to learn, and if you didn't learn, it would be bad if you'd grown up and didn't know anything.
My role in the goal setting process, it's really just meeting with the kids and talking about their goals. I love the opportunity to build relationships. It really does, it doesn't necessarily fit into my job specifically, but building relationships, I think that's a huge part, and just getting to know the kids more.
All of us here at Bluegrass working together just makes that process a lot better for the student. It's really nice when we even have science and social studies teachers get involved. Of course, our counselors, our youth service center coordinator, we all pitch in to make sure that the students are successful. And it's nice because once they finish math testing, they'll see us in the hallway and they'll share what score they got, and they're usually pretty excited to do that.
I like to learn. I'm very curious. I've asked a lot of questions in science class normally, and I've always had pretty high goals, and that's what I believe will lead me to success.
Talking to people for setting goals has helped me know where I'm at, and then it helps me bring up my goal to where I want it to be and where I need it to be for the school year that I'm in, for the grade level I'm at. Some things I do is whenever I'm at home, doing homework and stuff, I always take a drink of water and then calm down and then take a deep breath and start my homework. Whenever I'm doing the test or whenever I'm in school, I stay focused and I make sure that I'm paying attention to every detail and every question and making sure that I'm reading carefully.
Today we learned our math map scores, and today it just kind of showed me where I'm at and kind of what I need to do more. So it shows me that I have a hard goal to reach, but I think that I could get to my goal through what I'm learning. Conferencing in math really kind of helps me know kind of where I need to be and just kind of helping me know what I need to do. When Mr. Reynolds conferenced with me, it kind of showed me that he does care, and that it shows me that I need to work harder because that's a higher goal to reach. So it shows me I need to work harder to get that, and I need to understand more and focus more.
So today me and Mr. Reynolds discussed my MAP scores, and he said to set a goal to improve 4 points every time we take it. So I'm going to try to improve 4 points or more. So I'm going to work harder and try to understand more of the concept that I'm going to be taking. This morning in first period, Mr. Reynolds conferenced with all of his first period students about their math map scores. When we were discussing, he was telling us what we got, and he was telling us as a goal set as what we need to do in order to improve our scores. And I really liked how he actually pulled us out to the side, not just said it in front of everyone. In conferencing, he was telling us about goals that we need to set in order to improve our scores, and I really liked how he was telling us how to do this, and he helped me set mine so that way I know which to focus on more and not do the areas that I already am good at, but to improve on the ones that I am not as good at.
James T. Alton has been doing goal setting for several years now, so we're kind of carrying on the tradition here. But what I've enjoyed about it is being able to sit down with the kids and look at the past results and then look what they've done earlier this year, and then to show them progress or show them what they are capable of, because sometimes they might back up, and but if we show them a goal, we show them the future, it gives them the aha moment, and that's what we got to capture with kids these days, because they are a instant gratification technology world that they don't like to look down the road a lot. So we set some goals, and we let them set the goals. Sometimes I have to kind of tell them that goals are something that you look just beyond your reach, but you hope that you can obtain, and it's not so far out there that you're never going to reach it. But so that's been the conversations we've had, and some of the kids have had an aha moment. They'll tell you and say, I didn't try hard enough on the last MAP test, or I didn't try hard on K-Prep. Well, then we try to build that relationship so that they can try harder and show it's their ownership of their own learning and their ownership of their own achievement, and not just a number for James T. Alton.
I always had done goal setting since it was one of the things that my elementary school did. And I didn't exactly like being compared to the other kids because I wasn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. So getting told that I was lower wasn't always amazing when I was smaller. And then I actually managed to listen to my teachers and ended up learning what they were teaching. And I've learned to get a little bit better about everything.
I have been goal setting since early in elementary school, as long as I can remember. My teachers always did it so that I had something to work for, and I knew how I was doing compared to some other students, and I knew what I needed to work for. I think that I have really grown in math and reading over the years. I think I'd like to grow a lot more in reading. It's not as strong as math, and I'd like to make them even. It's nice knowing how you do because it's kind of like a competition. You want to work harder to be the best you can be.
You know, we've been goal setting with our students here at JTA for several years now. As administrators, we sit down, we meet with every single kid in the building, go over their K-Prep scores, send those home, and then we also go over their MAP scores. And so doing that, you know, we always make some interesting revelations together, and kind of opens our eyes to those kids that really they just flat out, and I've had several students sit down and say, well, you know, I didn't give my best effort. And some of those students, they'll say, you know, if you look at my MAP data, I'm distinguished. Well, they say I should be distinguished, but I'm not because there's a time constraint and I'm struggling with time. And so a lot of what I've been doing, you know, this time around and working with some of these students is talking to the other counselor, Ms. Roberts, about looking at some of our scheduling, the way we schedule our students to take state testing, maybe looking at some ways to break up some of our large groups. We've also have talked with some students about test taking strategies. They're starting to break down things such as, you know, if I've got this many questions and 45 minutes to answer them, I'm getting about a minute and a half per question. So what they're starting to realize is, well, there's 10 minutes left, I got 20 questions, there's no way I can answer all those. So what I'm going to start doing is looking at the type of question. If it's something that I know based off my MAP data and geometry statistics I'm good at, I'm going to take my time to actually answer that one, and I'm going to skip over the rest so that when it comes down to a minute or so left, and if I have to guess just to complete all my answers, I'm going to guess on things that I may struggle with anyways, but to try to make sure I answer all the questions that I know I can get right if I work them out. So having these kind of conversations with kids and them kind of coming to those realizations, I think are a big thing, and should yield some good results for those students setting their goals. A lot of our kids are realizing that they're scoring higher and proficient in areas that, according to MAP, they're lower in, and things that they feel the most confident in, they're scoring a little lower on K-Prep. And we've talked about things such as, you know, comfortability. When we feel comfortable, sometimes we start to be a little bit more lax. We don't give as much attention and be as alert to what the question's asking because, like, oh, I got this. And so in the areas that they struggle with, they're full attention. Now, we kind of compare it. We've been doing some different analogies talking about driving. You know, most accidents happen within a mile of your home. When we talk about the reason for that is you're comfortable when you're close to home. It's an area you've driven before a bunch of times, so because you're comfortable, you make silly mistakes. It's not that they can't score proficient or distinguished, but they're not really paying their full attention. And then when you do that, silly mistakes, silly things happen, we waste time, and we get a lower score than what we're capable of, whereas in some of those other areas, because you were worried and you were focused the whole time, you gave it that full attention. And so sometimes it goes beyond just, hey, here's your goal. You need these 3 points. This puts you here. It's looking at the data and seeing the hidden facts inside the data.
I feel like students, when they have reached their goal, number one, it makes me feel good when they are proud. But when they get their MAP test complete and they see that they went up 8 points and they want to run and they want to tell the principal and they want to tell their other teachers and they want to, can I call my mom, tell her I went up 8 points? Because that's a big deal to them, and they're really taking ownership of that. And what I really like is once they have reached their goal, we have students who have they'll finish a project in class and they want more. And they want to, can I go to the library and do that? And our media specialist, Ms. Hahn, does an excellent job of extending the learning opportunities for students. And I like knowing that that is available and that our students really look forward to going down. And can I get more? Because I'm ahead of the rest of the class, so can I do this? And the answer is always yes. We always encourage students to seek further opportunities to grow, because even the students that are way above grade level, and we have so many more students that people don't understand, that we have some very intelligent students at North Middle School that are very, very high. We want them to grow too. I have the same goal for them as I do the kid who comes in and is at way below grade level. So those high students are just as important. I want every student to feel exactly the same, where they all deserve to grow, and that's our mindset.
You should always focus on what you're doing to plan to get the best grade or the best score on anything. Always be focused, don't ever goof off, any of that. I personally think learning actually is a fun thing to do, especially if teachers and educators are making it interesting and fun for us like they do at our school systems. They make it in a way to show that learning is always going to be fun as long as you put your mind towards things.
Grades in math, tests, taking normal class tests in math was terrible. They weren't always graded like 57% and stuff, and K-Prep scores are just below. So I've been always as I've been going through grade school, I've been working on trying to bring up that math scores and see what I can do better. I've been going home, having tutoring, taking online computer classes and stuff, trying to see what I can do better on this math. Reading has been, it's okay. I think I can do better. I think that if I really read the questions first, reread, and instead of reading 10, 20 passages like they do have on K-Prep, I think that just skimming through first and just finding those clues and those context clues, because sometimes just reading the question, reading in between the lines and your answer could be right there in the question. And I'm trying to work on that too. Been having some people come over and help me, having family members trying to help me, see me succeed. Writing is one of my strong suits. I find writing 5-paragraph essays really easy in my opinion. I think writing is a strong suit for me. I think it's one of my strengths. I think the only problem is I have to remember to put periods, punctuations, commas, air quotations when somebody's speaking, all that good stuff. Well, social studies, in the middle, in between, just same as reading. I think that when it comes to getting dates down for important events that happened throughout history has become a problem, and me focusing. So I've been trying to get better about that too, me trying to focus in class and, pay attention, because, I have ADHD, but that's not an excuse. But, for sitting down for so long and, it's trying to stay on task and not get distracted. So my goal is to get better in all subjects in school learning, so that way I can succeed and move on.
I've been teaching for 20 years, and all of those years I have been in the junior curriculum in somehow, some shape or form, and the juniors focus on ACT. Today, this goal-setting activity deals with their ACT score, but not only they want to raise it, of course, but how they're going to go about doing that. I feel that it's important to not only set goals, but also have a plan of action, because it gives them an awareness that they haven't had before. At the beginning of the trimester, their junior year, many of them have never taken an ACT before, and so just getting that first number is a little eye-opening for some. And then as as they progress, as we practice and I teach them and they learn, they are going to grow, but a lot of the growth will depend upon their mindset. They have to decide that they want it. They have to decide that they are ready to put in a little extra effort to make that happen. And so that's what today is about. What is their effort going to look like?
I remember my teacher would hand out packets, and they would say that if we got certain scores that we would get certain rewards and stuff, and so that was enticing. And so I remember telling myself, okay, if I can just get a couple more questions right, then I'll get the score I want. And so I would take home my worksheets and I would practice on them, and then I would get that, and that's pretty much how it works with a goal.
Well, I guess my earliest would have been about 2nd grade when I found out I didn't do so well on a math test that I studied for. And then my teacher sat me down and told me why I was having problems, and when I knew what I was having troubles with, I knew what I had to work on, and I was able to set goals and how long I wanted to study that particular thing and how good and proficient I wanted to get at it. I guess it changed me by making me more responsible, by making me want to learn more and want to try harder, because if I didn't try harder, I knew I wasn't going to do as well, and that wasn't going to be so good whenever I got older and I wanted to get into colleges.
Our sophomores and our juniors are taking practice ACT tests this year. They're taking 2 in preparation for the spring test that will count for them. And so we give them the practice test, and then when we get the results back, we are sitting down and meeting with each sophomore and junior one-on-one to look at how they did and to set goals for the next test so that they may continue to improve. I think anytime any staff member can sit and talk one-on-one with a student, that reaches out to them and builds a relationship and some connection. In our day-to-day busy operations here in the school, a lot of times you're dealing with groups of 30 or 100 or 400 in the lunchroom, and to be able to sit down one-on-one and have conversations, I think the students appreciate that from what I'm gathering, and we really enjoy getting to talk to them like that.
I moved here from a different state in 4th grade, and so I remember setting goals for tests back in when I first moved here in 4th grade. And that started at Meadowview, and I remember doing it all the way from 4th grade all the way to now as me being a junior. I've definitely gotten a lot more serious from the transition from middle school to high school. And of course that transition, you still keep some of your middle school habits, but I can definitely see a change from freshman year to sophomore year of me getting a lot more serious with my ACT, my studying, my prep in general.
I think the biggest thing we see at the beginning, especially for sophomores, for a lot of them, it's the first time they've even seen the test. Practice are a real thing. So it's overwhelming. The endurance that they are required to have for this test is a lot for them, which is why we have put in place those practice tests. They have asked great questions. What do I need to do to bring up my English? What are some strategies I can do with reading? So we share those with them. We write them down for them, help them with their notes on each section, how to improve each score. And then we're setting goals that are realistic and attainable. Maybe my English score can go up 2 or 3 points as opposed to 7 or 8. It's a slow growing process. They know what the ultimate goal is, and they're slowly working their way to the ultimate goal.
At North Arden, teachers are real good about trying to give you time in class to do your homework, because they always want to help you, so you're right there with them when you do it. But if not, they always give you study time, stuff like that. And at home, yes, there's a lot of studying and stuff, but that's what you have to do if you want a good GPA and do good on the ACT.
I study a lot more. Back in middle school, I really didn't care about my grades as much, but since high school hit, you realize how important they actually are.
Today we were able to speak with the sophomores individually about their ACT scores, the tests they had just taken, and we were trying to pinpoint the areas where they needed some more work for the spring test, and we were setting goals with each student. So they were able to look at what they needed to work on, and we gave them some tips and some Google websites and things like that to help them do better for the next test.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from our students, our teachers, and our administrators today, and hearing them talk about the impact this is having on our achievement here in Hardin County Schools. Thank you.